You have probably heard this a million times. Just build your dream life in your 5 to 9. Use the hours after work. But here's the truth that nobody is talking about. The 5 to 9 hustle is a complete trap. It sounds great in theory, but trying to piece together and create a life you actually love in the few hours after your draining 9 to 5 job is exhausting. And honestly, it's setting you up to fail. And I know because I personally lived this. During my time in corporate, I was trying to do all of the things after my 9 to 5 job, build my YouTube channel, start a business, take all the courses to learn all the things. And I thought if I just continued working harder and harder and harder, that I would eventually get there. But spoiler, it did not work the way I thought that it would. And it's not because I was being lazy, it's because I was burnt out. And not only did I never see success from doing it this way, I actually started to resent the very thing that I was trying to build. Hi, I'm Paige, and 4 years ago, I decided to let go of society's expectations of me and quit my 9 to 5 corporate job to follow a path that felt more like me. If you've ever felt like the traditional way of doing things doesn't quite fit you, then you're in the right place. In this video, I'm gonna break down why the 5 to 9 hustle does not work, what actually happens when you try to build your dream life after your 9 to 5, and the alternative that helped me finally make real progress without burning myself out. Every time I go on social media, I see someone talking about this concept that if we just work harder, that we will get results. But after a full workday, you're not just tired, you are mentally drained. Trying to cram your dreams into the leftovers of your day isn't just unsustainable, it leads to guilt, burnout, and resentment. And this isn't just prevalent in the world of building your business and your side hustle and eventually being able to quit your job type of content. It's also very common in diet culture, challenge culture, I'm looking at you 75 hard, and pretty much every niche that you could find on YouTube or any social media platform. And the reason for this is that we like fixed concepts. We like the idea of if I just put in the work after my 9 to 5, then I will finally get success and I can eventually quit my job. It gives us hope for this idea that if we just keep trying one more day, put in a little bit more effort, that we will eventually be able to realize our dreams. But the big problem with this is that it takes an insane amount of energy and discipline over a very long period of time to actually get results from doing this. Because realistically, for most people, if you work a typical 9 to 5 job, you are not getting home until about 6 p.m., which then you're probably eating dinner. Now it's 6:30. Now let's assume at this point that you have nothing else going on in your life. You don't have kids to take care of. You aren't trying to work out. You don't have any other health conditions that impact your ability to do things. All of those things out of the way, which honestly is probably 95% of us have one of those. For the small 5% of people that have the simple life of just going to work, coming home, and that's it, you realistically only have about 3 hours before you need to start getting ready for bed, shower, go to sleep, and then wake up to start the day over again. So 3 hours Monday through Friday is 15 hours a week, which sure sounds like quite a bit of time. But when you compare that to someone who is doing this on a full-time basis, actually running their business, most people running their business are working over 40 hours a week just to keep it afloat after they already created it. The initial stages of building and running a business take a lot longer, especially when you first start getting clients. If you're a freelancer like me, you're really putting in a ton of hours to figure out all the business logistics and actually run your business, but then also be in your business and do the things that are required of it. And if you're trying to do something different that isn't directly trading some type of time for money, like building an entire video game or starting some completely new app or business from scratch, you're talking hundreds of hours that need to go into this before you ever even see a penny. So think about how much time it would take you to get to the point where you really have a sustainable business that's successful, that you can now quit and leave your 9 to 5 job. And here's where it gets really depressing in my opinion. The amount of people that actually successfully create, grow, and sustain a business is very, very small. Most people who even start a business are going to see that business fail in the first year. I'm not even gonna bring up the statistics because honestly, I think they're like too negative, but I think it's an important thing to consider here because we're asking people to spend their only free time after their work hours, maybe some time on the weekend too, if you want them to really grind and themselves doing this. Probably can't say that. I hope you know what I meant. It's probably bleeped out because I'll get demonetized. Only to then have a very small percentage of success after spending probably years actually getting to the point, if ever, that it actually can make them enough money to quit their job. And the worst part part is that most of the time, they're not just gonna see success and then have their business fail. They're probably never going to see success. And not just because, number one, a lot of businesses fail in their first year, but also because realistically, only putting in 15 to 20 hours a week in most businesses is not going to be sustainable, especially whenever you think about the fact that those 15 to 20 hours you're putting in are like the worst hours of your day where you're the most burnt out, exhausted, and tired. Because we are not machines. We are not meant to do something 24/7 for every hour that we are not sleeping. And even if we're capable of doing something for every hour when we're not sleeping, it's not meant to be sitting behind a computer staring at a screen, which for majority of us, that's probably what we're doing for a 9 to 5 and our 5 to 9. So this has been very sad and negative. What is the actual solution here? Before I share with you what I believe to be the best solution for this issue, I want you to start by just initially opening up your mind, being open to what I'm about to say, because I know what I'm gonna share is initially gonna sound like, yeah, there's no way that could happen. I could never do that. That's too risky. Just keep an open mind and consider this as another possibility. If you really want to give your dreams a real shot, not a half shot, a real full shot, you have to stop trying to build your dream on tiny scraps of time and energy. You have to make a plan to go all in for a short season instead of trying to do it for the longest season ever indefinitely. So before I talk about exactly how you should do this, I want to explain to you why this is the best idea that you could ever possibly decide to do. Number one is you very quickly get to find out if you even actually like what you've been dreaming about in your head for years. Ever since I quit my corporate job and started working for myself, I have changed what I want to do about 13,000 times. Not really, but maybe like 5 to 10. I don't know how many. My husband probably knows and might stick it here because I'm constantly changing my mind. But if I had been changing my mind that many times while only having a few hours a day to actually put effort into my business idea of the week, I would have never gotten anywhere. But at this point, I've been able to fully replace my old 9 to 5 corporate salary with my business and working for myself because I was able to get this real life, real experience clarity over what I want instead of just romanticizing this idea of hustling and grinding after work to eventually build your business in your side hustle. So by going all in, you get to find out very quickly whether or not this is actually the thing you want to do, or if maybe there's a different business that you want to build, or if maybe the 9 to 5 was actually right for you after all. There is completely no shame in just going back to the 9 to 5 afterwards. It's like that concept of always dreaming over this like specific hairstyle or hair color or haircut that you've always wanted, and you just romanticize the idea of eventually doing it and eventually having this style and looking this specific way, but then you finally go all in and actually bleach your hair or dye it purple or whatever. I've done that, so that's what I'm thinking of right now. And you realize that you actually hate it. But if you had gone more and more years never actually trying it, you never would have known that it was horrendous on you and you should have never done it. So it's the same concept here. You have to actually try the thing to know if you like doing the thing, and you need to try it in a real scenario, not in a few hours a week type of way. The second reason why this is the best possible method to actually create your dream life and be able to leave your 9 to 5 is that you're going to make progress so much faster. So I talked about this a bit earlier in the video, but I want to give you some super clear numbers on the impact that this method can make for you. Say you are an absolute master at discipline and you're somehow able to do 10 hours of trying to build your dream outside of your 9 to 5 while also working your typical 40-hour job. If you're doing that and you're doing 10 hours per week, that means you're doing 40 hours per month and 480 hours per year. Now compare that to going all in and spending 40 hours building your dream and fully not being in your 9 to 5 anymore. That is 160 hours a month, and that same 480 hours in your entire year with method number 1, you're going to get to in just 3 months of method number 2. So in 25% of the time, you are going to accomplish the same amount at a bare minimum. But realistically, if we really think about it, those 40 hours are going to be way more productive than those 10 hours you would get on top of your 40-hour job. So most likely your progress is going to be even better than 4 times. You're collapsing years of slow, painful, and draining progress into weeks of real momentum. awesome. Reason number 3, your energy is going to completely change when you make this switch. No more splitting your focus. You will actually be awake and functioning when you're working on your dream. You get to utilize not just the end of your day or just the beginning of your day, but your entire day to build out your dreams. And if you're someone like me that finds that their most productive hours change on a day-to-day basis or are in really weird hours or during times that's usually within your 9 to 5, this is going to be huge for you because you're not going to be trying to do this work whenever you're literally completely dead and exhausted after the end of your day at work. And not only does that mean more progress, it means that you actually are excited about it. You're not dreading it. You're not wishing that instead you get to go to sleep or watch TV or binge scrolling on TikTok. Instead, you actually are putting effort towards it in a way that brings you joy and happiness. And again, brings you back to number 1 of helping you realize whether or not you actually want to do this. But honestly, the most important out of all of these reasons is that new opportunities can only find you in this same capacity when you are putting your full focus, energy, time, everything into this. When you are all in, people are going to notice. You'll be available for real-time opportunities, last-minute meetings during the day, collaborations with other business owners, the stuff that you used to miss because you were at your day job. All the progress I made in my first year of working for myself was always during the typical 9 to 5 hours. Most people that are looking for freelancers, if that's what you're hoping to do, don't want to schedule a call with you at 8 p.m. at night. So unless you have the most amazing job in the world and you're not terrified of getting fired by being caught in other meetings for your side business during work hours, then this is really the only way to get that momentum. So we've talked about why the 5 to 9 hustle doesn't work. We've talked about why this method is the absolute best method you could do. Now I want to tell you actually how you can achieve this method and what you're going to do to get there, because I'm sure you can't quit your job tomorrow. I'm going to make this extremely simple for you. It is the simplest process. Step 1, you are going to save 3 to 6 months of expenses in a high yield savings account. Whatever you're currently spending, multiply it by 3 if you're more on the risky side, 6 if you want something a bit more safe, and save that up as fast as you possibly can. And that could mean that you cut back your current expenses drastically. I have gone through this process 2 times now. The first time when I quit my 9 to 5 job, and the second time when my husband just quit his 9 to 5 job to join me in my business. We were able to cut our expenses back from $8,000 a month to $4,500 a month this most recent time that my husband quit his business. We went down from 2 cars to 1 car. We canceled all of our subscriptions. We started shopping at Walmart and Sam's Club exclusively. No more Whole Foods, no more Sprouts, and many other things that I actually made an entire video on, and I will link it in the description if you want to watch more of how we saved up a lot of money very quickly. But you have to cut down your expenses first to be able to then make enough to save up that emergency fund. Second, if that is not possible for some reason for you, if you have no way of cutting your expenses any lower, then really your only option is to pick up some other way of making money that is guaranteed. And you're gonna be saying, but isn't that the same thing of working on your business in your 5 to 9? No, because when you're working on your business, most likely you are not getting guaranteed money from the get-go. If you are, then go ahead and do it. Like, do that and then save that extra money and do it for a short period of time and use the same method. But if you are not and you need to put time into actually finding clients first or building out your portfolio or whatever you need to do to actually start making money from your business, then you first have to do something to make money outside of it. So pick up some pet sitting jobs on the weekends to make some extra cash, sell stuff that you have on Facebook Marketplace, anything you can do to save up that 3 to 6 months of expenses. And 1B to this that kind of already I hit on was, again, when you reduce those expenses, now you can take that reduced expense amount to calculate your 3 to 6 months of expenses. You want it to be like your bare minimum spending. What can you realistically get down to and be sustainable at for this 6-month period, say that you are out of your 9 to 5 job? Okay, number 2 is to set a clear time frame. You are going to specifically go back to step 1, figure out how much you can bring your expenses down to, figure out exactly how much you need to save once you have that number, and then figure out how much you can realistically save extra each month while you're still in your 9 to 5 job to then plan out what the time frame is going to look like for you to actually quit. When I did this, I initially said that I was going to quit at the end of the year. I decided in January, I'm quitting in December. What ended up happening is we were able to save up the money much faster than I thought, and I ended up quitting in July. So set that number, have a plan for when you're going to quit, and start working towards it. And then part 2 2 of the timeline is to set the end date of the unemployed working on your dreams phase, because you're not quitting forever. I mean, unless you want to and things work out like it did for me, but you are initially agreeing to just quit for, say, 6 months. You're going to try this all in for 6 months and see if you can make it work. If after 6 months you're almost burnt through all of your expenses and things are not happening, then you go back to the 9 to 5. Or if any earlier in the 6 months you realize this isn't for you, then you can again apply for jobs and go back to the 9 to 5. But you need to set a time frame both for when you're going to quit and then when you are going to go back if you have to after working on your business or your dream. The reason for this is that it really helps to have that somewhat pressure that comes with knowing, okay, I'm giving myself 6 months to do this. It also helps, in my opinion, to allow you to be as frugal as you possibly can with the 6 months of expenses you have and be willing to maybe do a few little odd jobs, sell some things on the side while you're actually in that transition point of building out your dream in those 6 months. And the next 2 steps are not the physical practical, they are the mental steps, which are honestly just as, if not more important. So step number 3 is to literally go all in mentally as well. This isn't about just the physical, the financial going all in. You need to be mentally telling yourself, like, this is it. I am making this work. We are doing this. We are figuring this out. Put yourself out there. Do whatever you can to start to work toward that dream, even when you're in those 6 months in your job, mentally, not actually building the business yet. Mentally, consume content about building the business when you're at work. Start thinking about ideas, dreaming, planning. Don't actually focus on trying to grind it out until you literally quit and you have the full-time capacity to do it. But once you're in that space where you have the full-time capacity, mentally go all in. Start telling people that you're building your business, that you are now doing this full-time, talking about it like it is your life. This is what you're doing. This isn't a, oh, well, I'm trying to do that. Nope, you are doing it. You are a business owner. That's it. That's it. There's nothing else. This isn't a trying, maybe, sometimes, probably. You're doing it, and that's it. You don't speak any other way about it. And the last step, number 4, is to adjust and pivot fast, like extremely fast. Be willing to change your mind as things come along, take on new opportunities as they're handed to you, and be very open-minded to whatever could come from this 6-month period. When I first quit my 9 to 5 job, I thought I wanted to be a life coach. I didn't even know what a life coach was. I just wanted to be a life coach. I wanted to be a YouTuber. I was like, I don't know, we'll figure it out. Now I'm working with multi-million-dollar business owners, helping them build structure and streamline their businesses. I did not think I was going to be doing that, but that is what I'm doing, and I absolutely love doing it. And the only reason I was able to do that is because I was willing to adjust and pivot extremely, extremely quickly. And by going in full time and literally not giving yourself any other option, you learn and adjust so much quicker because you're literally living it every single day, all day, instead of just a few hours at the end of your day. Your dreams deserve way more than your leftovers at the end of the day. It is time for you to bet on yourself full time, even if just for 6 months. So if you decide to do this and you want some more accountability and a little bit more support along the way, make sure to subscribe, because I am currently in a 119-day period of trying to build my business with my husband, who just quit his 9 to 5 job, because I want to transition my solo freelancer, solopreneur business into a full-fledged business that he can actually support and help me with and be able to make a sustainable income for our entire family for. So if that's interesting to you, again, make sure to subscribe and join the community. But before you go, I want you to leave a comment down below what your dream is, whether it's building a business, joining the circus, whatever your dream is. Leave it down below in the comments so that we can all cheer you on and support you and share what your plan is, your timeline to actually go all in on it in 2025. Or if you're watching this in the future, then whatever year it is right now. But that's all I have for you guys in today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.